Welcome to part 4 of the 2023 NFL Draft and Review. Today we will be looking at the New York Jets draft class, which will be starting off with their first selection, 15th overall pick, Will McDonald IV, a linebacker out of Iowa State. And it appears, according at least to Wikipedia, so take it with a grain of salt, they might be placing him at defensive end initially, which does make a bit of sense because McDonald is supposed to be a pretty good pass rusher. Not a lot of these other defensive ends on the Jets are, but considering the outside linebacker position, I think that it's more likely that we're going to see McDonald move around. So now I'll go over here. And McDonald put up a pretty respectable sack number through his college days, picking up 34 in a total of 80 games, which isn't bad overall. Well, not 80 games. Okay, it's a touch under, let's see here, 24, 35, 45, yeah, 34 and 48 games. That ain't bad. Got my tackles mixed up with games number. Thank you to this website for not making that number apparent at the bottom like the actual main NFL website does. But overall, though, pretty good tackle for loss numbers as well. Sacks were pretty high. But there was a bit of a drop-off between his sophomore, junior years and his senior season. So hopefully that's not indicative of what's going to happen. And we'll come over here to the highlights now.
Ready to play. If they weren't practicing, they wouldn't have those starts.
Knocked down. A flag is out. That was McDonald. Campbell said that they were as impressed with his basketball tape as with his football tape.
Can you imagine trying to
The academic
Should
Heisman.
probably have been intercepted, I think.
Deuce Vaughn looking for room on the right. Now comes back left. Spins out of a potential tackle and gets to their third. Third and 11 to begin the fourth quarter. Bohannon stepping up. He lost the ball.
Man rush, that's what's been asked of him. He's taking on double teams. He gets home the sack. He forces
solid
the
play,
fumble.
getting
Leaves
under
the
the
day of the Will
background
McDonald you
there
knew
with the
over the
quarterback.
course of this game.
Very good job
Fighting
there.
and clawing and
25 last week, 4 of 8 so far today, and now 4 of 9 is
really made the impact that we're accustomed to early in the
Good
season.
work on
but
his hands a
he's
little
got
bit.
multiple blockers
That
there
should
paying attention
probably
to him. Doesn't Matt
maybe
Hall
also
up into the
have
air
been
affect the play.
intercepted.
look how hot.
Corner can't blitz. The ball is out. I don't know that.
Crowded Jack Trice coming alive. Martinez pumps. Wrapped up and he's swallowed up.
Initially of covering everybody up. Martinez wanted to go to the outside. The one.
Sophomore year when his coach begged him. Card with Toad. Here they come. Card goes down. As a high schooler, he has come to Ames and he has worked as hard as anyone. And has turned himself into one of the elite. Backfield third down and 11. Thompson to throw here. Pocket collapsing. Ball comes out. Iowa State, did they jump on it? The great defensive end, number 9 for the Clones, knocked it away.
Will McDonald has a 6'10" wingspan.
Cowboys need him now. Low snap. He recovers and is brought down. A massive loss.
Over here to the left of the screen. McDonald gets the jump on it.
That's just a bad play by the quarterback.
Uiagalelei takes off. And down to about the... Card. Pressure coming. He didn't feel it. And the ball is loose.
Yeah, overall, this pick did kind of hurt me a little as a Patriots fan because what I saw back on draft night implied this is the kind of guy that can keep up with these scrambling quarterbacks, and, well, missing out on that definitely didn't sit too well with me. But it is the Jets. I will still disrespect this team until I see otherwise, so. But overall, this should be a pretty good defensive pickup for the Jets. They're kind of seemingly trying to shore up the defense a bit because the offense isn't really there. And yes, they did just get Aaron Rodgers, but let's face it, Rodgers is a temporary solution. He's probably not going to even get him anywhere. So, Their second selection, they took center Joe Tippmann, and this kind of doesn't sit correctly with me because they have had Connor McGovern, and the guy's only 30, you know. Centers can play longer than that. We've all seen it. 78 played, 67 started. Maybe not irreplaceable, but given the Jets' shortcomings, especially on, wide receiver, I'm not sure I would have taken a center here, but we'll see. So let's go over here and do a proper film breakdown channel. So hand over the microphone, more or less, to this guy and his video.
Last night, the New York Jets took Joe Tippmann, center out of Wisconsin, with the 43rd pick of the 2023 NFL Draft. So let's take a look at his All-22 together, and I'll show you what skill set Joe and his Wisconsin waterfall will bring to the New York Jets. Let's go. What is going on, everybody? It's Luke here from Play Like a Jet, and last night the Jets made their second pick. We've got more All-22 to break down together, and it was Joe Tippmann, the center out of Wisconsin. Overall, it was not a surprising pick to me. I think the Jets were always hoping to bolster their interior offensive line talent, and Tippmann did just that. So let's take a look at his skill set here and what he's going to bring. I want to say I only had 2 games of All-22 to break down, so that's why you're only getting a look at this. It may not take a look at his entire skill set, but this is what I saw when I watched him on tape. So here you're going to see a snap in pass protection against Illinois, and they're bringing a double A-gap blitz. I'll let it play at full speed out of the center position. Number 75 does a really nice job in a ton of aspects with this pass pro rep, so let's break it down a little more. First thing you want to see is does a great job getting out of his stance, traveling well, and covering the ground. But what does he do with his hands? How are they tied to his feet? Tippmann does a fantastic job with his right hand. Take a look at the right-hand side of his screen, his body. Does a great job getting that punch in tight, and he's just stonewalling and winning this rep. Right now, the blitzing linebacker has nowhere to go. So once he feels he's lost the initial rush, what does he do? He tries to rip through. But Tippmann does a great job staying engaged, but look at the base width now. He works that big, thick lower half through the block. He makes sure he sustains it, keeps working, and then once he's got in that position, finish it off and drive him backwards. One more time at full speed. This is as good as it gets from Tippmann. You're going to see him travel, do a great job with hand placement, match and mirror, and then drive and finish. Really, really nice rep against Illinois. Here's one against Ohio State, which was an up and down game for him on tape. In this instance, you're going to see him with a man straight over him, zero technique, rushing straight through his chest. What impresses me about this rep is initially his hands are wide, and that's something we'll talk about a little bit later. But Tippmann's hands fly wide, and look at the left-hand side of your screen. Tippmann's right hand ends up around the shoulder pad up high of number 6, the blitzer here. What does he do well, though? He repositions. He tucks that hand underneath, locks it in under the chest, and then look at the anchor, the ability to drop that lower half, to have a nice base width. He's in a powerful position, and his man is not getting anywhere near the quarterback. Again, let's watch this at full speed. That's a beautiful, clean pocket. That's all you can ask from your center as a one-on-one rep. Does a really nice job repositioning his hands. He needs to be better getting those hands in a tight position quicker. And as I said, that's something we'll elaborate on a little bit later. But I like the repositioning. That's high-level stuff we saw out of JMS as well. Locks it in, good base width, really nice rep, very, very clean pass pro. This one here, we're going to see a slide protection from the entirety of the Wisconsin line. Everyone's going to move to their right-hand side, left-hand side of your screen. Watch him travel here off the snap. Tippmann does a nice job. He's just easy covering ground, gets to his man easily. Again, locks that right hand in tight, gets to the chest, and then look at the finish. I like that from my interior offensive lineman. A guy who can travel, get the hand usage right, but then you want to see this. End with your man in the dirt, and Tippmann did a great job of it in this instance again.
Overall, what I'm seeing here is about what I expected. I'm figuring that either he's gonna move from center to maybe one of the guard spots, to let the line be shifted around to better protect the new starting quarterback. or he's going to be sitting back up to McGovern for a few years, which either way I think could be adequate for what the Jets want to do. So, this isn't a bad pick, but it's also not a pick that I would say immediately impacts the Jets. So, we'll next move along to offensive tackle Carter Warren. This one makes a little less sense to me because the Jets, well, they haven't, Mekhi Becton hasn't really panned out the way they want to. They still have some experience at offensive tackle. A guy like Carter Warren probably isn't going to come in as a starter right off the bat. He may not become one at all. But we'll go over here and take a bit of a look and see what realistically his chances are with this Jets unit.
The New York Jets came into the 2023 draft with a lack of depth at the offensive tackle spot. They remedied that with the 120th overall pick, taking Carter Warren, the OT, out of Pitt. So let's take a look at his film together, and I'll show you why the Jets have one of the most pass-pro-ready tackles in the draft, despite the injuries. Let's go. What is going on, everybody? It's Luke here from Play Like a Jet, and we're back in the film room with another All-22 breakdown, and this time we're looking at Carter Warren, the Jets' newest offensive lineman. When I popped on the Pitt tape, what stood out to me was his pass protection and how ready he is in that aspect. That's what we're going to focus on in this video. So there's two areas that really allowed him to be successful. His footwork and his length. His wingspan is incredible. His arms are 35 3/4 inches, so he's got phenomenal ability to keep people off his chest and to stay clean in pass pro. Going to start with 2 reps against Clemson, looking at just that, the length. Left-hand side of your screen, number 77. Have a look at this rep at full speed. Number 1, great footwork, but it's the reach and the length with his right arm and the re-establishing of his hands and base. So talking a little more specifically, what do we got? Clemson's got a 4-man front with a little blitz from the right-hand side of your screen. Warren's responsibility is the right defensive end, so he fires out of his stance looking for that man, but he bails into zone coverage. Does a nice job, eyes and feet back to the inside, resets, and he's in a powerful position. But have a look at this strike with the right inside arm. Bang! Underneath the chin, he stands up the defensive tackle and he's in a dominant position. But right now, actually misses with his clamp. Doesn't have hands on him, misses the grab, and right now he's kind of in a position where he can get converted from speed to power. But he does a great job chopping with the right arm. Look how he gets the long arm stab off him. Bang! Get that off me. Right arm comes down, chops it away, re-establishes the hand and anchors. That's high-level stuff from...
One thing I will say there is, well, yes, he does react well enough to that initial mistake. That's the kind of thing in the NFL that turns into a sack. You will not have that extra split second to react to what you just messed up. And this is especially true in a conference and division like the AFC and the AFC East. You know, in the AFC East, you've got guys like Von Miller, Matt Judon. You know, the overall conference, you've got plenty more really good outside linebackers, defensive ends, that if you give them that, they're just going to basically throw you aside. The quarterback's going to eat the fucking turf. So, Aaron Rodgers might not like that.
Great ability to adjust his footwork and eyes. Really good job with that initial punch. And then overcomes a little mistake. Great re-establishing of the hands. And work that anchor. Another good rep from the same game. This time against Myles Murphy, who got drafted just the other night. You're going to see him here, number 77, with a great job ruining the pass plan. Just messing up the play for Myles Murphy. He wants to go with a little cross-chop Euro step footwork. But Warren's not having it. Look how, again, that inside arm just bang, hits him in the chest and throws off the pass rush move. He's trying to swipe the hands away. Well, no chance. Carter Warren gets there first. He misses the hand swipe as a result. Warren keeps working around the corner. And have a look at the depth. He starts, 2 yards before the line and ends up 13 yards in the backfield. Kenny Pickett's got the cleanest pocket to throw from. It starts with great hand usage, a great punch, and that...
I think there's a reasonable chance for that to be a holding penalty in the NFL. And if the play is not really designed exactly like this, where you're going to have the quarterback standing about 10 yards away from a receiver who is completely uncovered. Then you're just not going to get that in the NFL. This is a play that another split second, the quarterback's on the ground. In the NFL, that's how it works. This is a player that needs coaching. If the Jets put him on the field right away, I would say for what little bit I've seen right there, they will regret it. That is one of those things that you cannot take this sort of thing for granted in the NFL. You know, a half a second is the difference between Aaron Rodgers having time to throw a touchdown and Aaron Rodgers getting put in the dirt and potentially injured. And let's face it, if Rodgers gets hurt, the Jets are now completely fucked because they don't have a single quarterback that I would even consider a quality backup. Zach Wilson is probably quarterback number 2. We've all seen what good that does to the Jets. So overall, no. Like I said, maybe in a few years. So next we move into the 5th round with running back Israel Abanikanda. And... oops. I hate it when it does that. Okay, let's see here. Okay, so his statistics don't imply he was a starter until his senior year, but that's actually a very good stat line. 20 touchdowns in 11 games. That is an impressive output. But I will immediately draw a bit of a footnote on this one because the Jets do have Breece Hall and Michael Carter. Hall is coming off an injury and Carter has proved expendable, but the fact remains is the Jets have 2 at least reasonably quality backs already on the team, so Abanikanda has a bit of a ways to go from the start. So here we go.
Across the middle is Slovis. That's Abanikanda. Makes a man miss. There goes Izzy. Izzy! Touchdown Pitt! 24 yards!
The winner, Tony Dorsett, who as we saw looks like he could still play. Huge hole. Israel Abanikanda!
Ooh.
They cannot get him. Touchdown Pittsburgh.
I like the little explosion of speed to get him through the last level of defense, but at the same time, I noticed he kind of seemed to slow down a little bit, and that is not something you want to see. Yeah, obviously, there's not too many guys that can run down the field at top speed, you know, for basically like the whole football field length, but, you know, from 60 yards, you want to see a guy at least kind of retaining his speed.
That's impressive in his first career game. They'll give it to Abanikanda, and he'll waltz in for a touchdown. First offensive touchdown of the night.
Like I said, I'm seeing potential utility here, but he doesn't really seem to be much of a pass-catching running back. Yeah, it's one of those oddities for me. I don't really favor this selection, but I could see him maybe muscling Carter out, but we'll see. These late-round running backs, usually speaking, not a lot of them tend to do too hot in the NFL. So, next up we have Zaire Barnes, and this is the, as far as I know, basically the first selection that is going to not have any sort of highlights because I legitimately cannot find a damn thing to watch, which doesn't surprise me. It's Western Michigan. It is what it is. So we'll basically be going from stat line versus the players that are on the team. And right here we can see this is decent, I would say, middle linebacker production, especially in that last season, 93 total tackles, an interception. He doesn't really do much in the sacks category, a lot more tackles for loss than gets done on really anything else. In terms of, he's pretty good at finding the ball, which also suggests a middle linebacker, but it would appear that they are intending him to be an outside linebacker because obviously they have C.J. Mosley at the middle. And this pretty much just raises the question of who becomes the starter on the second side, because you have Quincy Williams on one end, and then you've got Chaz Surratt, Hamza, Nasir Al-Din, and Barnes, and none of them really have the experience, so I don't really know what's going to go on here, which is also part of why I think that McDonald's going to play a lot of linebacker too, so this is going to be one of those ones. Keep an eye on him just in case the Jets decide that they're going to actually play McDonald primarily at defensive end. So that's all I can really say for that. We'll see what happens. Next, we have corner Jarek Bernard-Converse. And luckily, this one actually will have some way to watch. 1 year. That's interesting. 3 pass deflections, 2 interceptions. Okay return for college, I guess. 44 tackles. Not too bad, not too bad. But this one really kind of raises a brow to me because where in the hell do they need another corner? You've got Sauce Gardner, you've got DJ Reed. I'm pretty sure at least 1 or 2 of these other guys have done pretty decently in the NFL to make drafting this guy at best an extreme depth option, pretty much. So, but we'll, for the sake of completion's sake, we'll.
Young steps up from the pocket and delivers a late throw into the end zone. Bad decision.
That's just a bad play.
Jaron Lewis checks back in, throws out to Vaughn in the flats, and Deuce Vaughn makes. Bohannon sacked back at the 44-yard
line. Momentum-changing play near the end of the half, and Williams back pedals and throws it to the 11-yard line.
It's self-induced errors. Smith flushed. In trouble, has to get rid of it.
Purdy finds the edge. No, he doesn't. Cuts it upfield and is just not give the Cowboys a short field. 4-man rush. He got it off, but short of the first down. Second down and goal at the 1. Robinson again. Robinson turns a corner and does not.
70 yards through the ground, man. That helped him. It's huge.
Yeah, I'm not seeing too much here. I'm not entirely sure if they've even got the right player here, but overall not impressed. This is not a player that is going to make much of an impact for the Jets, especially not at this position. So we'll move along to the final selection. Tight end Zach Kuntz from Old Dominion. So he should have a stat line over here. Yes, he does. Let's see. Hopefully this isn't a blocking tight end because I find these incredibly painful to fucking watch. Okay, he does not appear to be a blocking tight end, thank God. But overall, touchdown production, not too great for a tight end. And coming over here, again, this is a position where they really didn't need to draft anybody. You've got C.J. Uzomah and Tyler Conklin already.
Davis in the backfield, a Lynchburg product. They swing it out to his big tight end. Catch is made. That's Kuntz reaching for the first down.
100% with Coach Ronnie. The major thing that Michael Vick is underrated, that Malik Willis is underrated on, is his ability.
North Carolina alum. Now Max staying in the pocket, lofting one as his tight end. The catch is made, keeps his feet, and he's in.
Keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going.
Zach Kuntz stays on his feet.
What is our best throw? Slant over the middle. And you see Kuntz coming all the way across, breaking a tackle, staying on his feet, nose for the end slot.
Wolf to throw, pressure up the middle, gets it off to his tight end. There you made the call, Mark. Wolf will throw.
Cavs bring just 4, and there he is. Kuntz inside Virginia, ticking down in 5. Again, Virginia brings just 5. Beautiful pass and catch.
I'm gonna check something on this guy, because... Okay, let me double check just to make sure, because he does not look that big. Yeah, apparently this guy's 6'8", 251. So... he does kind of have that leg up in the size department, but I do think it's cost him speed, because I have seen tight ends that look more physically imposing than this guy, and are quicker than him. And unfortunately for Kuntz, 2 of those guys are on his own team. So, I don't see much of this one. I won't say cut fodder, but don't expect to see him playing. So, overall... I'm sure there are people that would be inclined to say that the Jets may have some steals here. Maybe they do, but really, Barnes is the only one that I really see being a potential long-term starter with the Jets. It's really about these front 3 guys, Will McDonald, Joe Tippmann, Carter Warren. Tippmann and Warren are both guys that I say stash on the bench, 2 or 3, maybe 4 years, they hit the starter field when they're ready, and that's when they do really well. Will McDonald is the day one starter of this group. So, you've got 1 starter, 3 potential starters, 1 guy that could maybe unseat the backup to a position, and 2 guys that I would see as just borderline cut fodder. So, overall, I would place this at about a C+ overall class. It's just... I'm not seeing anything that really wows me. I know the hip and trendy thing is to pretend the Jets are going to be some Super Bowl contending team this season because they got Aaron Rodgers, but the simple reality is if you lack team structure, you're not going anywhere, and the Jets, I think, are still missing those couple pieces that really make a team stand out, especially in the AFC. So, like I said, I'm not impressed, you know. Just because you make 1 trade for a quarterback that's going to be gone in 2 or 3 years doesn't suddenly mean you're the next big thing. So, I'm not going to overhype this. I'm not going to overhype this team. So, C+, that's about what I'll give it. So, leave a comment, like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell to see when I upload next, follow me on Twitter, and I will try to get the Bengals draft out the door tomorrow, providing that there's no more unexpected interruptions.